What is premature balding? I think it's a relative question, but I think I want the challenge of trying to answer that question because that's something we hear. You know, there's balding. There's, oh, that guy's going bald, but look at him, he's 55. Versus, well, this guy's 20 and let's look at his hair. That's premature balding. But what exactly constitutes premature balding? Because to say that something's premature, meaning that implies that there's a certain age in which you would expect a man to naturally be balding at that point. So here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start at age 35. One of my hair loss theories is by 35, that's the point where you're pretty much going to know if you're going to be balding or not by age 35. Whether the rest of your life you're going to be balding or pretty much for the rest of your life you're going to keep most of your hair. 35 is that defining age for most men. And so with me being 37, I don't know, I think the jury's still out. I've got enough diffuse thinning to make me think, well, there's a good chance I will go bald. But then I've still got enough to think, well, if anything, you know, I may be 60 and still have hair on top, but it'll be so thin that for me, I may decide I'd rather just buzz it off than to be that thin on top. We'll see how that goes. For me, it's all about, I don't mind having some length on top to keep it from being obvious that I'm thinning on top, but I don't want it to be, you know, a comb over where it's just hiding it. I think there's a certain degree, and right now I'm still in that spot, especially as it gets a little bit longer growing out from my buzz cut. But what would be premature balding? What I would say is, think of it this way. I think what we have to consider is at age 35, anything beyond age 35, like for me example, there's nothing out of the ordinary about my recession and my thinning going on. This is totally typical for a guy my age. If anything, I'm lucky to still have this much hair. I mean, because trust me, if I interview myself at age 16 and you ask me, what would you look at 37? I'll say, well, I'll probably be mostly bald on top, okay? But premature balding, I guess if I had to put a Norwood status on it, I would say premature balding is if by 30, you're a Norwood 4. Which means you've got the detached part up here and you've got a balding spot back here and you've got thinning starting elsewhere. If you were Norwood 4 or beyond at age 30, I'd say that's definitely premature balding. If at 25, you got a Norwood 3 and or thinning, I'd say that's premature balding. But if you're 20 and you've got a Norwood 2, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's premature balding because you could very well be the 20-year-old guy who has a Norwood 2 and keeps it for the rest of your life. So that's my just off the cusp definition of what premature balding is, just to kind of give you some timeline there. But this is easily debatable. And maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe you need to tell me the truth in the comments and then we can make a sequel to this video. I think it'll be fun.